Hi there.
Hello, how are you doing? Nice to meet you.
You as well? How's it going?
Wonderful. Very excited over everyone's enthusiasm and energy towards creating this Dr. Joe community. And I'm so excited to hear about, the voicemail message that you left me that said that you have a community house in Florida.
Yeah, that hasn't actually started yet. However, it will start next weekend. At least starts on the 4th. So I'm excited about that. I've been living in community houses myself for on and off for the past like 4 years, honestly. So that's been pretty cool. I lived in one in LA, which was an entrepreneur house. And then I lived in one in New York City, which was a place called Lightning Society. So it was kind of like creative type people, but also just like open-minded, forward-thinking, a lot of fun. Um, so those are all kind of inspirations for what the community I'm creating. And now it's like putting that together in a light club and then coming together doing an actual physical house soon, which is going to be really fun. We have a house with a pool, can I think dock 2 boats in our backyard, all sorts of stuff. So it's going to be really, really fun.
So tell us, I've never, I'm intrigued by this idea of a community house. I'm always open to whatever the possibilities are, but I was thinking more of, a neighborhood, more of a traditional neighborhood where everyone has their individual homes,
Yep.
condos, townhomes, and so forth. And in the same neighborhood, we're all Dr. Joe students where we can, actively participate in walking meditations every morning, every evening, if you want to do it in the middle of the day, before or after lunch. People are all surrounded where you always have, one, two, three or more, or groups of people that you can plug into. And so but you're right about community housing, and I'm not familiar with that. So can you share a little bit more about how you found out about community housing? And just before we move on, I want to let you know that I am recording this. So
Yep.
for Dr. Joe students who weren't able to be on live, they'll be able to watch it later. So, and I want to welcome the other person, Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie.
Thank you for joining us.
Hi, sure. I was literally just sitting down to do some work and saw the post. I was like, oh, that's right now. I'll go ahead and log in. I am cooking some food. Do you want me to make myself disappear while I'm doing that? Okay, because
No,
I'm
you can
literally doing some other stuff and I know it's being recorded, so
Yeah.
I'll go about that.
You're
So
good. Why don't we just introduce ourselves real quick?
Sure.
I'd love to know all of you guys, and then I can dive into more community housing stuff and everything. So
sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Bonnie.
Okay, so let me just turn down the stove here a little bit. I am Bonnie Jewell. I live in Southern Illinois, and I've been doing Dr. Joe's work for 3 or 4 years now. I've been doing a couple of the advanced seminars and just started doing co-heal regularly in the morning a couple weeks ago, and lots of miracles, of course, with a lot of us as far as Dr. Joe life. So I am definitely interested in getting a community of people living together or living close to each other or whatever it is. There's only a couple of us where I live who are doing his work to the degree that I think you guys are talking about,
Yep.
where it's part of your lifestyle.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing what ideas people have as far as location, because of course there's a lot of different places that we could live. So I'm curious about where people would like to be and how to have that happen and how cooperative we might have it. So,
for sure.
it could be anything. It could be a co-op. It could be all picking the same town and living close to each other. So I'm just very curious about the different ideas out there.
For sure.
Yeah, I think that there are all sorts of possibilities. I like, Patrick, your idea of a community house. I think that I don't know enough about it, but I can kind of get the feeling that you have, a larger home where you all divide, the cost of the living, utilities and rent and lease payment or whatever. If you buy it, then the cost to buy it, where you all have a fractional ownership interest and you all have, similar interests and motivations, so that you're all with basically like-minded people. And so to do that, that's obviously another possibility for people as well as what I was thinking, which was more of, having a tract of homes, houses, condos, townhomes, et cetera, where, we're all Dr. Joe students, and, you have barbecues together, you celebrate
Yep.
together, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of some of the thoughts that we have. So Patrick, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and then dive into this community housing idea? And you have something coming up here September 4th, which I'm so excited. It's just next week. So it's
Yep,
like,
next week.
holy cow, it's awesome.
Lots of things have happened, especially in the last month, since I think that
Yeah.
Lionsgate portal might have been pretty good.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm Patrick Farrell. I've been traveling around the world as a digital nomad for about 5 years. And honestly, this is the way I've been living my lifestyle already. Not in such a formal setting, but I did something called Nomad Cruise, and we were all on a cruise ship for 2 weeks across the ocean, doing a conference every day, learning how people built their YouTube channels and all sorts of things. And that was really powerful. So I'd love to actually think about that for a Dr. Joe event at some point as well.
Yeah.
But that really inspired me to start doing other things. What would happen was after those cruises, people would get Airbnbs in a city or a town together, usually about up to 2 weeks to a month, living in that one place. And it was really powerful. I did Malaga, Spain. We did a place in Brazil. We did different cities in Europe. Not much has happened in the United States, which I think actually this needs to come to the United States, especially because travel is harder. Like, we have such a big country, we can do this here.
Yeah.
But it's like walk before you run, which is why like a community house is really powerful, because like people in Miami are like, I came down with 10 people and put 10 people in a group chat, and it's now 135. And we've named it's created a community called Light Club. Because actually after Dr. Joe, I just like the fact that we are actually light, double slit experiment was like Light Club just fit very well. And so it's wearelight.com. Wearelightclub.com. So it's like, that's a really great mantra. But basically that idea, like to create the community first and then things happen around it, is a really powerful idea. So I think the more that we do calls like this, getting to know each other, the more that we can manifest together. Like I've definitely had different ideas. Like, yes, I think a community house is great for my lifestyle right this minute. But in the future, like maybe an apartment building where we get a block of apartments in one building. That's already kind of happening in Fort Lauderdale. I have friends that live in a building that we actually do masterminds at in Fort Lauderdale. It's a beautiful building. They have a pool. There are a bunch of friends in the building. They do yoga and stuff like that in the building. I don't think they're doing Dr. Joe work yet, but they are doing meditations and stuff like that. So that's one idea. And what happened was it was a brand new building that people started moving into because the world was going crazy. Like a lot of people are moving to Florida, and that was one idea. Another idea is, yes, we could choose a town, or we could go buy a town. So like there's all these like older towns like in different places around the country. Actually, if you get 150 people to sign off on something, like you get to start creating your own government, you get to start creating your own rules, all sorts of stuff, which might be a really good idea. So that we would actually create our own rules, own government, and we would make our own choices. I'm actually I live in Miami right now, but I'm at a house in Pennsylvania, so you can see outside.
Oh, beautiful.
This would be a great property. There's a pool in the backyard. There's a garden out there, so we were gardening. My friend does photography, so we were actually developing photos today. I was like, this is a very meditative thing to do, actually, to just like dip the photos in, do it. And
wow.
so like all these little activities that kind of been lost is like bringing the analog back in and then using that time while you're kind of like doing chill analog activities to meditate and set that intention. So I think the sky's the limit. But I think a community house is an easy way to get started. And we could do like you could do one in California. Bonnie, you said you're in Indiana. Like we could do one in Indiana, and then people could start visiting each other at these different community houses. And then once that grows big enough, then you start saying, okay, we're excited to all, well, one other thing I did was something called Mind Valley University. Do you guys know Mind Valley?
Oh, yeah. Fiction.
So
Yeah.
that was a very powerful month. It was actually one of my favorite months of my entire life, where we were going to school together every day. So it was like we were literally going to class on how to be happy, healthy, and have fun. And then we would have dinners at night, and we would basically come together and go to parties that they organized, but we would also organize our own things. I went to a music festival with some people there. So these are what I'm saying, like, you don't necessarily have to like decide right away to go buy a town or I'll move somewhere. We can like do like a month at a time where we go choose a town to get Airbnbs for a month. We go skiing for a month together, and then build that content and tell the story that will then drive investors or whoever we need to come in and actually start to have more resources actually get land.
Yeah, I love what you're talking about, because there are, as you said, the possibilities really are infinite. And I have a strong, even though I have a strong medical background, because I was pre-med biological sciences, I was going to be a doctor, go to medical school, became a clinical neurosomatic practitioner instead. But I also founded and invested in a mortgage bank. So I have a mortgage banking background with 20 years, and I owned an international real estate brokerage. So I have some real estate background, and I remember several years ago, it was, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago, maybe not even that long, but I remember looking and realizing that you can actually buy, people don't realize you can actually buy an island for a few $1,000,000.
Yes.
So it's not like hundreds of millions of dollars. You can buy, there's plenty of islands for sale right now that are $2 to $3 million, which that's a lot of homes in Huntington Beach, which
Right.
is my hometown. A lot of houses are $2 to $3 million. So that's not exactly a big stretch. So, and then when you start to figure out, it's like, okay, some of them, of course, are just virgin. Some of them have already, electricity and water, and some of the municipal things where it has some development. So it's not like you're buying completely raw land. Some of them have buildings, some of them don't. So, but the bottom line is that for, several $1,000,000 plus whatever the cost to build, unless there's already a structure there that, maybe needs to be remodeled, it's more within our grasp than what we think. And so as you start to investigate that and see what kind of receptivity you have of people who'd say, yeah, you know what, I would like to have a second home, let's say wherever this particular island is, you get a group of, it could be 10 people, you divide the cost by 10. Now you all own it together. And like what you were saying about the whole self-governance, believe it or not, there's Terry. Believe it or not, you can become there's 198 countries as we speak, as of this recording. So it's not as complicated as you think to create your own country, believe it or not. So I've done a little bit of research on that, kind of just out of curiosity to see what it would take. Because several years back, I was aware of this couple who lived on an island by themselves, and they're actually one of the 198 countries. They're represented in the UN. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if this couple could do it, that means that anybody can do it. It's not like, so that's when I kind of just did a little research, and I thought, wow, okay, I'm going to file that in the back of my mind, not knowing that we were going to be having this conversation today. But so there is an infinite realm of possibilities. Not just for the pilgrims who, let's say, established the United States, 200 plus years ago, where they left the UK and, traveled over, to literally another world. And then, now we have the United States. This is actually more within our reach. It's simpler, easier, faster, more economical. And because we are more connected as a global community, it's actually more within our reach, because people are willing to pull resources together, because you want to live in a certain way. We all recognize that life isn't a dress rehearsal. So tell us more about the community house that you have, because that's already, like I said, your lease starts on the 4th. And I think it's an intriguing concept. And I think any one of us could put that into effect, wherever it is that we're living. So tell us a little bit about that. And then what this one, how many rooms, how many dwellings there are, how is it organized, how did you pull it off? And then anybody who has questions, you're more than welcome to ask questions. And maybe because Terry just came on and she hasn't introduced herself, can I go ahead
Yep.
and have her introduce herself?
do it.
Terry, I'm so glad that you're on here. She's in Hawaii.
Love it.
Yeah, I just got off a different Zoom, so I'm not, can you bring me up to speed just a little bit in a nutshell so I know what I'm introducing?
Yes, yes. So we are talking about a post that I put on Leaving the Monastery, the official Dr. Joe group, where I said, you know, imagine living in a community where all of your neighbors are Dr. Joe advanced students, where we can do walking meditations at the beach in the morning. We can do them in the evening, go do our prospective jobs or work, or if you're retired, or whatever it is that you do during the day, you do that. But you have that vibration of living in a like-minded soul group, if you will, and just create that kind of a place. And then, of course, we have a lot of people who are saying, sign me up, count me in, want to do that. People, of course, Dr. Joe's group, we're in almost 70 countries. So Patrick reached out and said, let's do a Zoom call. I said, let's go ahead and do it. And then, you know, there are some people who are saying, you know, what would the investment be? And this is all spick and span brand new. So he's brought to the table the idea of community housing, where it's a community home. For the last 4 or 5 years, he's actually lived in community homes with different interests and so forth. So just introduce yourself, where you're at, who you are, and so that he knows that. And then he's going to jump into this community house, which on the 4th of September, his lease starts. And I think for the people who either live in Florida or who want to move to Florida, to Fort Lauderdale, next week is already here.
Right.
So I'm going, it's already in the works.
Yep.
So go ahead, Terry.
Well, as you were saying that and mentioning that we're all over in 70 countries all over the world, I had this vision of pods, like, you know, different pods of these communities all over the world, not just one. So I'm Terry Huber. I'm a mother of 4 who are all grown and married and have grandchildren. And I'm like on my 2nd lifetime, if that makes sense. Through interesting circumstances, I'm basically on my own, which is cool. I mean, I'm not complaining. It's just that I do crave that connection and that community. That's what I really, really miss in my life. And it's interesting. It's so interesting what COVID has revealed to me. I mean, not that I've had it with the pandemic. I knew my childhood wound was abandonment. My mother abandoned me in the crib and let me cry and cry and cry and cry. And so being isolated, the social isolationism of the pandemic has brought that old energy up. Like, you know, I'm isolated in my studio by myself. And so I just find that fascinating, how that's correlated. And so I know we as human beings all require connection, but I particularly do because of that childhood wound. So yeah, that's something that's really, really intensely on my heart, of being in some kind of community. I just see how viable that is. And when Lillian and I are together on different voice chats or video chats, we literally feel the energy come up. Like we support each other's energy. And when we're in with like-minded people, that is so true. So I can just feel the power of that, to be in like-minded community.
Yeah.
I've been trained as a life coach. I used to be a teacher. I know laughter yoga. I'm trained in sacred sexuality / tantra. I've studied energy. I've had my fingers in many pots trying to heal myself. And now with great success to overcome PTSD and some other things. And a head injury, like traumatic brain injury. It's like, this go around, I wanted to experience everything, I guess. Let's just get it all taken care of. So, yeah. So, oh, and to say too that my family's on the mainland. I'm here in Maui by myself. So, yeah, I just would. And I love creating, and I love connecting, and I love being playful and fun. So yeah, let's hear more about it, Patrick.
Awesome.
And I wanted to just add, Patrick, before we start with you, is that, you know how Dr. Joe came out with that meditation about 6 weeks ago, the center of the magnet?
I think so.
Yeah, great. I bought it. It's like Phenomenal. Well, I want to say that Terry is the embodiment of the center of the magnet in Hawaii, because she is first of all, she's an amazing manifester, but she has been pulling people from the mainland who come to Hawaii, and she is actually starting to create this little community where she's actually connecting with families who are in Hawaii, who are Dr. Joe's students. So it's already begun to happen where she's, kind of creating this. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, because I feel that she's the center of the magnet for the island that she's on there in Hawaii. So
Well, thank you, Lillian. And as you say that, I went on a hike with 3 other Dr. Joe students yesterday, and then we sat down and did the Go Love together. Whoa, was that powerful. And then today we're meeting at sunset. All of us are meeting again at sunset, having a picnic and meeting at sunset. So yeah, connection is amazing. And I have to get off screen just a second to plug in my electricity because I'm running low on battery, but go ahead, Patrick.
All right, Patrick, give it a go.
Awesome. Well, yeah, what she said about pods is definitely part of my vision. Like, I want to be able to split between either community houses or go from Miami to Denver and go skiing for the winter, maybe go to Hawaii. So like, that's definitely big on the vision of having this space, and then we could like trade around. So like, oh, you want to come to Miami for a little while? I'll go to Denver, and it would be back and forth, right? And I'll dive into the house in a second, but I also want to say that one other thing that we didn't talk about was, as this world has changed so much, actually the really high-end real estate is actually become cheaper, because there's not as many people that are wanting to buy ridiculously large houses. So there's all of these ridiculously large houses on the market for a fraction of what they used to cost. So that's one other option. And actually, the community house I lived in New York, they were starting to look at this, like places in Pennsylvania, places in Connecticut. We were looking at a place in Florida that's like 10 or 20 bedrooms, mansion, beautiful house, like basically like living on a compound, for a fraction of the price. So if we can make that happen, that's also a possibility too. So yeah, so as I was traveling around the world, I just saw the power of community, bringing people together over dinners, all sorts of things. So that's the intention of this house we're putting together in Miami, is that we're going to be having yoga classes, Kundalini classes. I do masterminds. So it's like a mix of like spiritual and practical, so that we're both working on our physical bodies, working on our mindset, our beliefs, but we're also creating websites. We're also building businesses to increase our own wealth, so that we have more energy to actually step in and become leaders in this world that we're going in right now. And I think the most powerful thing we can honestly do right now is to have more energy ourselves through money, through wealth. So I'm really trying to empower other people through these community houses to make that happen. And then of course I want to have fun too. So we have a dock on the backyard. I'm like, okay, I could get a boat, like run an event, bring the boat up. We could go on the boat, go out to Biscayne Bay and go jet skiing or water skiing.
Love it.
And we have a pool, so that's gonna be a house. This particular house only has 3 bedrooms in the main house, and then we have a side house. So the side house will be renting out. So actually, if anybody watching this wants to join us, we have a side house to rent out right now. So that's a possibility to actually join right this minute, which is pretty cool. But that would also be an idea, which is like, okay, some of the house like remains constant. You kind of have your main like home base, and then some of the house we rent out to other people that want to be in Miami or whatever city we develop this in for a while. So
I love that idea, and it's true. People who I think the average person isn't really privy to the information that the value of your dollar. So for example, like in the upper end homes, which are more expensive homes, that you start to get into the 5, 6, 7 bedrooms and above, your dollar goes farther because there's less people, you have less competition and less people that can afford that. And not everybody needs a 5-bedroom, 6-bedroom home for their family, or a 10-bedroom home. So when you go to look at that, it's like, okay, you would think that it's like, okay, I'm paying, let's say, just to use a number, let's say you're paying $6,000 a month for a 6-bedroom home. Okay, basically $1,000 a month. Maybe that home is a 4,500 square foot home. You would think, okay, well, I can get a 3-bedroom home for $3,000 a month. No. A home that's 3 bedroom, 2 bath, let's say in Huntington Beach, that home, believe it or not, is about $1.5 million. So you're not going to pay $3,000 a month. You're probably going to pay closer to $5,500 a month. And you're like, wait a minute. The math seems wonky, but it's because that those higher end homes, yes, the cost per square foot to build them and so forth, but there's something about the economics, which is what you've brought to light. You know, you have a 10 or a 20 bedroom home. Well, that's only the top 1% or the top 0.5% of the population that's even going to be able to dip their toe into that game.
Right.
However, if you're putting something together as a community, whether you're buying it or you're leasing it, now collectively you can pull the trigger on something like that. And so your cost of living actually is, you're getting a lot more value for what you can afford.
Right. Yeah, I think we could honestly live $1,500 in a mansion if we wanted to. Like we each person, like totally possible. And like another problem with that is like you have maintenance and all sorts of stuff, but then honestly that becomes like a fun thing to do. Like we get to work together on the house, we get to learn how to garden, we get to have space to do that stuff. So it becomes much more manageable if we did do it as a community. So I feel like, and I was like, this morning we were like, she has a dark room. Like we could put a dark room. We could put
Conference room.
a conference room. We could put a podcast studio. We could like we can make a YouTube channel at this place. We can do everything.
Mhm.
All these things are possible. So
Yeah, like you said, the possibilities are infinite. So it's just a matter of like, okay, identifying the area that you want to live in or where you live in already, and then start to look at the possibilities. So as we look at the possibilities of houses and buildings, apartment complexes that you can do this in, like yourself, you have this community home with a 3 bedroom. You said it was a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, or 3 bedroom, 3 bath?
3 bedroom, 2 bath in the main house. And then we have a side house that we're renting out. So yeah,
And that's in Fort Lauderdale.
that's in Miami, actually. It's on an island called Belle-Made Island.
Oh, it's in, oh my gosh, it's on an island called,
Yeah.
never even heard of
which
it.
is crazy actually.
I'll be there
Manifestation. It's actually crazy manifestation for my friend who
I
also
believe it.
lives on that island in another house. She was like, I envision my friends moving on into the houses on this island. So so maybe we just take over all the houses on that island to start with. I don't know. So
I like that vision.
That sounds
Yeah.
great.
Okay, so how do you spell that? Belmeda?
Belle-Made, Belle space Meade Island. Yeah, it's really central. There's 3 causeways to get over to Miami Beach. So it's by the 3rd North Causeway. Like literally, you just drive out and go over to Miami Beach if you want to. Wynwood and downtown is not too far away, so it's a really great location. Obviously, Miami is also a great location for international travel from Miami Airport and things like that. So, and I love Tulum, so I'd love to start doing retreats in. I think you're in Mexico right now, so like back in Tulum, I was there quite a bit, and run my own retreats. I actually would love to do a retreat of my own at the Dr. Joe, where I did the Dr. Joe event. That was such a beautiful place. But yeah, and that's where I'm gonna come in. Like, it doesn't have to be like me jumping to the next house right away. Like the next thing I'm gonna be doing is running retreats. I have a retreat at the end of September, like a month-long experiences, stuff like that, to start building the community and get these ideas solidified into people. And they're like, oh, well, we want another one. Well, now let's go build another one. Let's do it.
Yeah, and as the interest grows and as you start to gain a little critical mass, I mean, where you have 2 or more people that are interested, then, you know, that quickly starts to grow. Like you said, you started that Zoom, you said it was with like just a few people, and then now it's grown to like 150. And so, because people are thirsty, people are thirsting for this, they desire this, they want this. And especially in the Dr. Joe community, probably more than the general population, we're aware that we can create this. We know that there's a possibility in the 5D realm where this exists already. We're like, okay, now we just have to talk about it, identify who are the people who are interested in doing this, and then just connect, which is what we're doing here right now.
Exactly.
So I have, where I live in Southern Illinois, there is a spiritual community here who have, I will just let you know what they've created. They are part of my patient base, so I'm pretty familiar with how they do it. They have and when I say they, it's people in the community, not necessarily the community pot, right? Like it wasn't like the community bought it, it's the members of the community.
Mhm.
They have a house. They're a Sufi community. So anyway, so they have one house, they call it the Tekka. It has a meditation room in the basement. They do meditations there every day for the entire community. That house is a bigger house. And I think there are six or seven people living in that house. And in where we are, it's one of the bigger houses. There's a couple that lives in the very upstairs, but it's definitely a community house that has been a center for them. They have bought farmland. So they have farmland where they have an organic farm.
Oh, my
And yep, and they have a small natural food store in town, and they sell their produce there. They also have the produce available for the community, and the members of the community go there and help with the farming. They have bees there. They have an herb garden. They have an herbal supplement line that they have. They've bought a community center that other people from the community can rent from them. They have a natural, it's a vegetarian restaurant. And one of the people who owns that, she's from New York City originally, so she knows how to do all that. They've had a homeschool community, so not really homeschool, but kind of homeschool. So some people live together and some people live in other houses. Now this town is only, I think it's a college town, but I think outside of the students, there's maybe 13,000 people in this particular town. And there's a lot of farmland around. It's very, very rural. It's so South and Southern Illinois that Southern Illinoisans don't think of us, but it's very, very rural. So I have seen this in action. And so everything that you're saying, I'm like, yeah, that's totally doable to take over the island. Like I've seen it because they've basically taken over an island down here.
Right.
And I know that I myself have been looking at Florida as a possibility for 2 or 3 years now. And then just the whole pandemic thing. I love where I live. There's beautiful nature here. That's what I love about it. I just got back from kayaking. There's just like so much beauty here. And Florida's been on my list. I think there's a lot of people who I'm making an assumption here, but I suspect that other people might be looking at Florida who would be interested in a community. I'm going to look into this Belle-Made Island to find out more about it.
It's a small little island, so it's not a huge place, but there's probably, I was looking, it's probably like 30 houses on this island or something like that. So I don't know who owns the other houses. What's happening right now in Miami is obviously a lot of people are moving there. Tech is moving there, different stuff. So people that have money are coming in and they are buying up houses that they plan to renovate. So that's how we actually got this one, was that the plan is to renovate this, but they can't do it until they get permits. So it'll take like 6 months to a year for them to get the permits. So the person that I'm doing this with got a deal from the owner because he was kind of in our vision. He liked the idea of what we wanted to do. So normally this would be twice as expensive, honestly, as it would be for us to rent this house. So we got a really good deal. But the next thing is we manifest wealth, and then it doesn't matter about the money. That's like where we go next. But luckily, like this is a launching ground for me to get to the next level too. So.
So you're thinking that island wouldn't be the one that we take over? It doesn't seem like that would be.
I mean, unless you have millions and millions of dollars, I don't know.
Not at this time. Not in the 3D.
Yeah.
You know, the millions and millions of dollars exist in the 5D quantum realm, so don't worry about that. The thing is, there's some very wealthy Dr. Joe students that can make things happen. So we don't need to worry about that. So we just have to hold the vision of, the clear intention of, we're going to take over that whole island with Dr. Joe students. Some of those Dr. Joe students may say, it's like, well, yeah, I want that to be my primary or my secondary. I travel quite a bit, so maybe I will do vacation rental it out to other Dr. Joe students, so that the 3 months of the year that I'm always gone, then other Dr. Joe students, maybe 30% of the island will always have Dr. Joe students that are just in there for 2 weeks, a month, whatever. But anything is possible. So now we just have to, we know that there's my gosh, 30 houses. That's 30 houses on that island that we can have probably in the next 6 months to a year without a shadow of a doubt. It's very
Yep.
possible that, we have all Dr. Joe students that own that.
Can you
And
let me share my screen real quick too?
Please do, go ahead.
You have to enable access. So Florida is a good place, I believe, to start this because weather's good all year round. So we can like do, hang on, like that's, whoop. I think you have to stop sharing and then let me share. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here it says you have to click on the little thing that says like add permissions. I think it's like an arrow right above.
Yeah, I'm
Or-
looking.
Or I can just give you a Instagram link that I wanted to, that you can pull up
Let
on
me
your
see. Oh,
screen.
here, reactions, breakout rooms closed. I don't see it right now. Hold on.
If you want to just pull up that link, the Instagram
Oh.
link, this that I just put in the
One
chat.
participant can share. Okay, I have it set so one participant can share at a time. Let me see, one
It
person.
says host disabled participant screen
Okay,
share.
I just changed it to all participants, so you can go.
There we
ahead
go.
and
Okay, cool.
share.
Okay, so Miami I do like too because like it's got the city and then we can drive. This is only an hour or so away to a place called Homestead. So if we want like the city, you go in the city and then we have a place there and then we drive an hour and a half away and then there's properties like this in a place called Homestead where we can do more gardening, have bigger plantation land. So I know somebody that's actually part of this community that I guess has a few things on the back. Like there's all sorts of stuff that we could do at this place as well. We could actually rent this place. What's it?
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. I have not been there myself, but look at this place. Like that's only like an hour to an hour and a half
Wow.
away from Miami. So they're doing mini festivals on the weekends here apparently sometimes, which
Mm.
like I love combining fun. So like mini festivals, music, meditation, and there's something called Fireflies Forest, which is that's what they do here. So Homestead, Florida. So that's why I like Miami as a spot, and then Fort Lauderdale has had a lot of great community as well. So this whole area of Florida, I think, is great. And then my second desire would be somewhere in the mountains to go skiing in the wintertime. That's my second desire for my second place. So
So Montana and Florida.
Montana, I've heard good things about. So yeah,
Yeah.
maybe Montana.
Montana.
Yeah.
We're on the same page for that
Yeah,
one.
we got that. Montana
for
and Florida.
skiing.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
I don't know what we got to figure out what ski towns. I don't know which. I know there's skiing in Montana, but I'm not sure
Big,
where. So
Big Sky, Montana is
Yeah.
like the Aspen. It's like
Yeah.
beautiful, gorgeous. Yeah, I think that if you check that out, I should show you. I have a friend who lives in Big Sky. She just bought a home, her and her husband last February. Let me see if I can pull it up and show you because it looks like a postcard. She's been trying to lure me to go and I haven't been able to go. I've been busy going to all other sorts of places. I told her next winter I would go because I knew I wasn't going to have time this summer to go. Let me show you a real quick picture.
Yeah.
Well, I have this vision of rotating communities. You guys all take turns between Florida and Montana and switch places for whatever
Exactly.
people like the most.
Exactly.
Well,
And another thing I'll tell you that I've done while you pull that up is that since everything did go virtual, I love Tony Robbins as well. So I've been to a lot of Tony Robbins events, but his events are virtual right now. So
Mhm.
what I did was we have done 2 retreats already where we brought people together and collectively watched 14 of us at the same time watching the Tony Robbins event. And then we had a pool and a hot tub and had dinner parties and stuff like that, which you wouldn't normally get to do if you were in person. I love the in-person stuff, but
Yeah.
this actually was a very special experience. So we could also have, like, I don't know, maybe we could get Dr. Joe to do a virtual conference for us, and then all these community houses have the virtual stuff at the same time together. I don't know, like all sorts of possibilities are possible.
There are all sorts of possibilities. I want you to see if you can see that.
I love that.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Where is
Mhm.
that? It's in California?
No, that is in Big
Montana.
Sky,
Oh,
Montana.
Big Sky, Montana. I like Montana's idea. Yes, Montana sounds good.
It is really, I mean, it's so green. Obviously during the winter there's snow, but this is a picture that was taken during the spring. And it's just like a postcard. Everything is so green around it, and it's a big, beautiful home. And the homes are like that with, several acres around them, and it's just gorgeous. So that's another possibility. I'm looking to do something like this in California. And so, yeah, this opens a whole, again, realms of possibility. And so my home just sold in last month, at the end of last month, and I could not find anything in Huntington, Newport. I had to go to LA County, and then was not happy in an Airbnb there. I got something for 30 days. I said, this is not working for me. I think everything was pointing towards, my intuition just said, just go to Cancun for 4 weeks. When you get back on the 1st, you'll know exactly what to do, the right house and so forth. Now I'm thinking the reason why is I needed to have a vision of a bigger home.
Yeah.
And it's kind of evident what, the direction I need to go in. So I think this is really an exciting time for us all to be manifesting, and it's real. It's already happening. You've already signed a lease. It's in place. It's wonderful that you have all this experience having done these community houses before. Oh my gosh. And you are on an island in Florida, which
I am.
I didn't even know this island existed. So
Right.
I know that that guest house or that other home is probably in the next 48 hours, it'll probably be gone. You just need to, share that in that post. And already there are the people that have said, hey, we're looking for this. We want now. So
For sure.
Perfect time.
Yeah, before we end, like one thing I think you should, if you're open to it, you put this up on and then post the link for this video if everybody's okay to share, then we can just get this idea out bigger. And if you guys are up for it, we can do like a 4-minute meditation and then solidify this. One thing I've been doing is playing Now We Are Free from the Gladiator soundtrack. Has everybody heard that song?
Oh, play that. I don't think I know that.
Because the reason is it's like rising our energy. You can, over the course of the song, you feel your emotions rise, and I'll try to talk over it a little bit. And then we can collectively come into like envisioning this together. So I do have to go shortly, but do we want to end with any thoughts before we do that?
Sounds great.
Thank you for
Are
putting
you
this
thinking
together.
changing box? I was thinking we should do a changing boxes meditation, but I mean, not at this time, obviously, because that's a little bit longer.
Okay. Yeah, like I'm trying to work with some other people too for Light Club to do a meditation circles, healing circles. I got in the call with Ruby, who I met through your post. So thank you so much, actually. And she wants to do a coherence healing circle for current events in the world. We don't have to talk about what those current events are right now, but I think that's a really powerful idea to do stuff around current events and set our intention, because we can send our energy to different cities, to different countries right now.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're trying to do. So like, I think we should all do that together as well. So
I completely wholeheartedly.
So I know you have to go, Patrick, but there is dimensionalizing your future that was done on a Coheal International meditation. And my understanding is that it is not being sold anymore, but that is a meditation that was done once. We were supposed to do it this morning, but the person leading it had to leave unexpectedly. But it is the first meditation I've done where you sit there and you literally are creating your environment, and he guides you through it so powerfully. So if any of you has the dimensionalizing your future or knows anybody who has that I found to be more manifest oriented than changing boxes even.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
love it.
So
Oh, no, I've never done that one. I know previously he had the tuning into new potentials. That was the old one, the old version. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this was before, I don't know if it was before that, but he hasn't sold it in a while, but I would love to get my hands on that one.
Me too.
Yeah, Bonnie, if you want to message me, I created a chat for Lily and me and a few others already. So we can just like have the people that we've already interacted with start to communicate
Conversation.
and keep the conversation going for sure. So
What did you want me to put in the chat?
just your Facebook or Instagram so I
Okay.
can connect with you.
Sure.
Yep,
I'll get that.
But
that
yeah,
works.
Lillian, thank you so much for your post. It's obviously created something amazing already, and then we can just see where it goes from here. So
Yeah, and you know what, I want to just say, because I know sometimes we get focused on specific meditations and so forth. One of my own personal experiences that once we apply the formula, because for me, it's like the real, like the guts to this all is the formula. So
Yep.
whether you're listening to a guided meditation or not really doesn't make a difference. Once you know the formula, which we all do, which is a clear intention, marry it with an elevated emotion, you slow down your breath, your heart rate, your brain waves, and then you upload into 5D. Once you're in that theta, you command your brain to go into theta state, you're there, and then you have that visualization and you're feeling, no one, nobody, no thing, nowhere, no place, and no time. And you're creating in that 5D realm what it is, the end result. And then you, with love, gratitude, and appreciation, you let it go. And then when you open your eyes, you're like, okay, it's done. You don't know when, how, all the details, that doesn't matter, but the end result, you've collapsed the existing particles to turn back into waveforms of energy and to reorganize themselves into particles. So now you're not dependent on listening to a guided meditation. You're not dependent on anything external because you got you wherever you go. Mm-hmm. So that's really where the power is, where we are using our free will to take our focus and our attention to create what we want intentionally with our consciousness. And so I just want to say that because we can do that anywhere, anytime. And so that's basically it. So
agreed. So let's do it right now.
Let's
okay.
Go ahead. Cool. I want to hear this music that you have and go ahead and guide us.
I love this song. There's many other songs, so happy to share my playlist with you guys, but I do love this song as a way, and try to think during it as like rising your energy, and I'll try to talk over it a little bit because I think it's powerful. So all right, ready?
Yeah. Ready.
You guys hear it?
Mm-hmm.
Just want to thank you, Lillian, for bringing us all together today. So powerful to hear all of us realize what the collective vision can be for us building a community housing, community centers, community neighborhoods. We all can make the world a better place together. We all can do this work on a daily basis and live a most powerful life. Just collectively see what's the place you want to live. Who do you want to be around? How do you want to spend each day? How do you want to feel? How do you want to act every single day? What do you want to be thinking about? How can you inspire others to dive into this work, to realize that they are the creator of their reality? How can we do that together on a daily basis? As the song goes up, think about being grateful for the fact that we're here, grateful that we're doing this, grateful that have this intention, and that elevated emotion. This is what we're supposed to do. This is prophesized. We came here. We're the family of light. We came here to help humanity raise through this consciousness shift. This is what we're here for. Really start to rise that emotion scale right now. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe out. I'm so grateful to co-creating with all of you. The sky is really the limit. Whatever we can imagine, we can create. So set the intention, elevate that emotion every single day. and just believe that it's possible and it will happen. We can create this reality. We must create this reality. I'm excited and joyful to know that this is possible. So thank you guys for being here today. Thank you for coming together and sharing your vision with us. Let's do it.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Wow. A lot of energy in that meditation, Patrick.
I love that song.
Yeah, I love the soundtrack.
Yeah,
Wow. We really are living a dream, aren't we?
we are.
Indeed.
And we have to be the leaders because there's so much stuff going on in the world right now that people feel disempowered. So the people that feel empowered, I think, is very important for us to step in and show the world the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, my fellow genius mystic healers. I love you. You're my friends and gems. And thank you for showing up now, and
Thank you
share
so much.
this with other genius mystic healers and let them know there's a place in Florida on an island right now. Just have them connect with Patrick, and then let's all connect on the Facebook Messenger group that Patrick started and continue this conversation. And I would love to do a follow-up Zoom video a week from now after the 4th, which is when your lease is effective.
Yeah.
And I think doing a status and letting people know, maybe even, showing us a little bit of what your community home looks like from there, I think would be really encouraging and exciting and very vicarious for us. I'm feeling like I signed a lease to this island in Florida, which I've never heard of until today. And so I think it'll be a great source of encouragement. And can you imagine where we'll be 365 days from today?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
So, yes, I'm happy to do that call. I think if you can put this up and put a link up that we can share to kind of get the vision out there to other people. And then let's do a follow-up call once I move in, and I can show people around and introduce you to a few of the people that are living there and stuff too. So
beautiful. Thank you, Patrick.
It's awesome.
And if anybody actually wants to live there, we have the side house available. So reach out to me and let me know. So
yeah. So thank you, Rupina, Terry,
Thank you.
Patrick, mwah, to you all.
all right, bye guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thanks. Have a beautiful day.
Bye.